everybody, and welcome to the Maria Gonçalves podcast. I am your host, Maria Gonçalves, and today we have a special guest, Ayeda
It's
Husain.
simpler than it looks, yeah.
Okay, and she is the creator of the Sufi tarot. And this is one of my favorite tarot decks, and I'm always recommending it to friends. So I will tell you guys a little bit about Ayeda. She is a senior teacher and a guide in the Inayatiyya. Did I say that correctly?
Inayatiyya.
I will go with what you said. A global organization dedicated to Universal Sufism as taught by Hazrat Inayat. Please correct me
Inayat,
if I'm wrong.
Inayat, Inayat.
Khan, the mystic and musician from Baroda who brought Sufism to the West in the early 1900s, a longtime journalist specializing in Sufism with a double master's in journalism and Near Eastern Studies from NYU. She now teaches Sufi meditation, chanting, and philosophy with a special emphasis on Rumi's poetry as a means of healing and evolving. She has run Sufi centers in her hometown of Lahore, Pakistan. Did I say that correctly? Okay. In Dubai, where she once lived, and in Oakville, Ontario, Canada. She's a next door neighbor. I'm in Hamilton. Is where she now lives and works. She has led spiritual retreats worldwide, taught Sufi meditation to Buddhist monks in Tokyo, and been invited to the UN as part of an international delegation of spiritual leaders. So, welcome.
Thank you so much.
I am so excited you're here. And I actually went to chapters and I saw your tarot deck, and I'm a strong believer that decks have vibrations in them. And I could feel the love out of this tarot deck. And it's just like, it's so beautiful. The artwork is so beautiful. So, what inspired you to create this tarot deck?
There's so many factors which went into the creation of the Sufi tarot, but I think the simplest, crudest answer is that it was a COVID project. But a little bit more than that, I'd had an accident and my entire right arm was had been crushed. So I couldn't move indoors. I couldn't leave the house. All I could do was meditate. So in my meditation, I was just getting these incredible downloads, all these images. I'm a writer. I'm not a visual person, but these incredible, colorful images were coming to me, and I was like, gosh, they look like tarot, kind of, sort of, but not the tarot that I'm used to. And I love tarot, but I've always been a little bit disarmed at how uninclusive the images have been. They're very
Mhm.
Eurocentric, and I never felt visually represented by them. So I started researching, and I found out that actually tarot came from the Mamluk Sultanate in Egypt, which was very much, we're not talking about ancient Egypt, we're talking about Islamic Egypt. It was something which
Yes.
was codified in the Mamluk Sultanate. And then at the time of Moorish Spain's height, there was a lot of interaction between the West and the Spanish East. And the Italians came and they picked up the tarot and they took it to Italy. And in the Renaissance, it took on a very different flavor. Beautiful, rich Christian medieval images came into it, but
Mhm.
it went further and further away from the origins. You know, the oldest tarot deck known to us is at the Topkapi Museum in Istanbul from the 1300s.
Oh,
And
wow. I didn't
that's
know that.
that's how far it goes back. And then the Italians came, I think it was around the 1400s, 1500s. And
Yeah.
then the French picked it up with the Marseille deck. And then the British picked it up with the Rider-Waite-Smith deck in the 1800s. And that's when Kabbalah was introduced and all the images totally transformed. But nobody paid any attention, I felt, to the origins. And I felt that was a little bit disturbing that, okay, why are we dismissing the origins of this incredible tool for self-knowledge and development and inner growth and healing? So, as I am so immersed in the Sufi tradition, I wanted to use Sufism to bring together the Eastern origins, the Western adaptations, not out of anger. You stole our
Yeah,
art. So there's some angry decks out there. I didn't
there
want to be
are.
They are. I didn't want it to be angry. I didn't want it to be dark. I really wanted the spirit of union, of harmony, of love, of beauty, which is what Sufism is, to bring together the Eastern origins, the Western adaptations, and then, go a bit further than traditional tarot has gone. I love tarot, but I
Yes,
always felt like I was sent home from the doctor's office with a diagnosis. And I was like, okay, now
yes,
what? Now what? Now what do I do? So I wanted the Sufi tarot to be a deeper aid for healing in which we would imbibe Sufi wisdom with traditional tarot and use the Sufi inherent healing practices to heal that which tarot diagnoses. So
yes,
I have tried to go into it in as much depth as I possibly could. I mean, we actually have endnotes in the book. It's such a sturdy little thing. Um,
yes.
I do plan to go deeper in more depth because this is my area of expertise and I can write hundreds and hundreds of pages. So I can go on and on, but let me turn over
Please
to
do.
you and see if you have any questions.
Well, I want to show our viewers the quality of your tarot deck, like the pictures, the back of the cards. Uh, the little book goes in so much detail, which I love. So if you guys are watching this and you're thinking, which deck should I get? This is one of my favorite decks. I got it at Chapters. You can get it online, go to her website, find the deck. But what I fell in love with, and I'll just show the viewers the artwork. Like the artwork is, oh, this is one of my favorites. It is
Right.
mesmerizing. And like on your website, you talk about where is it? Because you wrote it that it's a bridge between healed and unhealed parts of our being. So I thought, oh, that's so beautiful. So within each of these cards, because I am curious, because there are a lot of cards here. There's 78 cards. How did this come? Was this like a 1 year project, a 5 year project?
This whole thing happened in a little over a year.
Oh,
I
wow.
was so immersed in these images. So I would go into meditation, these images would come to me. I would create these little briefs and then deliver them to these two wonderful young artists I found in Pakistan. 26, 27-year-old people had never they did not know much about Sufism. They knew nothing about tarot. They were doing very commercial uh, logos for like big corporate companies. And initially, it was like, is this going to work? But they went through this incredible transformation, which was more magical actually for me than to watch the way the deck turned out, to see their transformation with each card, with each element, with each archetype, with each um, mode of healing, with each cultural exposition that we tried to really get into with each card. I felt these layers and layers of veils being removed from them. And I think that was the most beautiful part of this project. Working with these two young people I'd never met before, we would work on Zoom together. And
Yes.
often we would be on Zoom for 10 to 12 hours. And I would be sitting there, sometimes playing music for them, sometimes saying, no, 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 we don't want to do that. No, let's change the fingernails. But I have to, full disclosure, admit that there was major micromanaging and major nagging and many do-overs. You just showed me the Emperor card, the Sultan.
Yes.
So it's all
Yes.
digital art. When we were cleaning that card up eventually, there were 250 layers. That's how much um,
This card you're talking about?
we changed his
Look
face.
at the artwork. Like, I just fall in love with the artwork.
That one specifically, 250 layers when we removed them at the end.
Oh,
Uh,
wow.
Initially, he turned out looking too young. Then he looked too old and stern. And then we finally settled on a face which would work. The traditional card of the emperor has two ram signs. I didn't want there
Yes.
to be signs. I wanted them to be live rams representing Aries and fire and the strength and the dynamism of this archetype.
It is. How about the Alchemist? Because I'm going to be honest, when I picked this card, I had like a vision, and then all of a sudden there was like feathers around me. It was almost like I got transported into the picture because that's why I love tarot cards because they're so powerful. So, how did you come up with this
But the
vision?
traditional alchemist is called the magician. And it's a word
Yes.
I don't love because it's kind of implies some sort of trickery going on. There's some kind of trickster who you cannot trust. An
Yeah.
alchemist, and remember the word alchemist, alchemy comes from the Arabic word alchemia, is the process of transforming a base metal to gold, but also transforming um, your pain or your suffering into joy. So many people
Oh,
refer to Sufism as an alchemy of the transformation of suffering into joy. So I wanted
yes.
to show a visual representation. How do you transform things? How do you alchemize things? And the answer is concentration. So he's looking straight down at the candle,
Yes.
single pointed awareness, just full concentration. And through the power that he's generating, the papers start lifting up from a pile and, flying up above his head in the shape of infinity. There's the shape of infinity. So there's no limit to your potential, to how much you can achieve. If you are able to concentrate, you
Yeah.
can manifest anything.
Oh, I love that. I love how you explain to us about the healed part within the tarot because I was curious how that gets woven into the tarot cards. And I have to show off your cards because they are so magical and I do feel like I get transported in time. So would you recommend people meditate with the cards to connect with the cards? I'm going to keep showing these as you keep talking.
Do. That one is one of my favorite, the
This
Wheel of
one?
Fortune. I call it the Charkhe Falak. I know it's a bit of a tongue twister. The Charkhe
Yes.
means the wheel, and Falak means sky. So it's a wheel in the sky, and it's based on a poem by Rumi, in which he says, you may not understand what's happening in your life, but there's a wheel in the sky, and it's held together by the divine universal intelligence. So whether you understand what's going on or not, remember
Yeah.
everything is happening exactly the way it should. Everything is in order, even though it doesn't look like it is.
Yeah.
Everything is happening exactly the way it's meant to happen.
Oh, that's beautiful. And I think so many people can relate to that. And then here, like the artwork is just, oh, is this like the hangman?
And yes, yes. That's
Oh, wow.
another traditionally um, disturbing image because you don't know if he's been hung and left up there or
True.
something he's doing voluntarily. So I wanted him to look happier and really show a willingness to transform, to turn himself around. So the word taslim means surrender. And what you're really surrendering is your rigidity, your fixed ways of thinking, right and wrong, good and bad, black and white. When you hang upside down, not that I'm recommending anyone do it, what happens is that the heart is raised higher than the head.
Yes.
You're giving preference to heart knowledge over a limited mind, and you see everything in a different perspective. which is all we
Oh,
need to do sometimes. One definition of a Sufi is somebody who can see things from your perspective as well as the other perspective.
oh, beautiful. Even the color and the artwork is light,
Yeah,
like as opposed to traditional tarot where they're hanging off a tree, kind of stuck there for a while.
exactly. And even the next card, which is probably the most dreaded card, death.
Yeah.
I didn't want any dark cards. So over here, you can see that it's a transition. The
Hmm.
being is moving from the parched, dry earth, which is our living life, into
Yeah.
a beautiful space which is flourishing with flowers and blue. I picked the color blue because we believe that blue is the color of the soul. So the
Oh.
shroud is coming off, and the blue shirt is being revealed within. That means the soul is free, and there's light, and there's fertility, and it's nothing to be dreaded.
Oh, I love that because in traditional tarot, a lot of people are terrified of the image of death because it is a scary image. So I love the way you transformed it into something so beautiful and light.
It's a beautiful transition.
Yes. And then we have this one.
Yes.
They're all so beautiful. And just so
Another,
are,
yes.
oh, sorry, what were you gonna say?
Another dreaded one, the devil. I did not
Yes.
want the devil to be some guy out there with like horns on his head. It's the nafs, which is your ego. So it's
Hmm.
a shadow within. And you can
Yes.
at the bottom that the chain is being broken. You can break free of the cloud,
Yes.
the muddled thinking, your lower desires. It's not something that keeps you in prison forever. So it gives you some hope. Okay, if it's my ego, then perhaps I can work on it. Maybe it's my lower self, my vices. It's easier to deal with them than the thought of somebody sitting out there with red horns and a angry red stick.
Yes, because that is a scary image, if we're gonna be honest. And people are terrified of that image.
Exactly.
So that's good. I'm gonna keep showing them because they are beautiful. This is another scary card in traditional tarot, the imagery, because of the
Yeah.
lightning rods and the people falling off. People get scared of that card too.
So I have explained this in the context of another Rumi poem in which he said there's a building, but the
Yeah.
building has to be demolished before you can find the treasure that lies beneath the building.
Oh,
So I think it's hard to tell, but there are little glints of little carnelian, little treasure under the tower. So
oh,
as it falls down, something new is revealed. And that
oh,
is again indicative of the Sufi belief that there has to be destruction before there can be reconstruction. Something
yes.
has to end before you can be gifted what's really yours. So after a series of dark cards, we finally get to the star, the Sitara.
Oh,
And
this one is just stunning.
I loved her very much as well. There are seven stars, like we have the seven subtle senses. They call the chakras in the Hindu tradition. In the
Yes.
Sufi tradition, we call them the lataif. So
Okay.
that's what they represent. The five-pointed star is the human body in Sufism, the top of the head, the two arms, and the two legs. And the center of it is a heart radiating outwards. So there's a
Oh,
lot
wow.
of Sufi symbolism and sacred geometry in these.
These are just, they're beautiful. They're stunning. And they come alive, like the artwork comes alive for people. There was one, I don't know if I already passed it. Actually, all of them. All of them are beautiful and stunning, just so people get an idea of how, like this. This is so beautiful. It's like it glows.
So I did not want four staffs. I wanted four pillars of light.
Yes.
I've been quite creative with what the staffs need to look like. They don't need to be
Yes.
physical staffs.
And the steps are called the traditional wands in tarot.
Now,
Yes.
can I tell you the interesting story? The
Yes.
original name, and I'm so glad you've got that card in your hand. The original name for the wands was Javkan, which
Oh.
means no, the other one,
The
yes,
five, this one? Okay.
Javkan, which means the polo stick. And
Yes.
this suit was created or was born in Central Asia, where they used to play polo.
Oh,
So when the Italians picked up these cards and they had these strange sticks, like L-shaped at the bottom, they didn't know what they were. But they said, oh, there's sticks coming from the east. There must be magic wands. They renamed the entire suit to wands, which I thought was so very simplistic. So I
yes.
changed the name back to staffs. At least it's a little bit closer to what a polo stick is. But the
Oh,
this whole suit was changed from a polo stick to a magic wand because polo had not come to Italy yet.
yes. Oh, and this one is like, that is breathtaking.
That's actually paying homage to the art of archery in Malaysia.
Okay.
I had to touch upon as many different cultures as I could. And this is all about outer success. What effect does outer success have on your inner being? And how much
Yes.
you need outer success to be fulfilled internally. So it's a, you know, tricky, tricky thing, success.
It is beautiful because I do want to put just read a quote that was on your website because I feel like this is what we're talking about. And you talk about how the Sufi tarot features unique artwork reflecting equal gender, age, and race representation. It offers the power of art therapy through careful designed images, which inspire people to explore their emotions, develop self awareness, and recognize dormant qualities in themselves.
Hmm.
Yes, because I find as we were talking, I'm like learning so much more from your cards. But I do want to show them off because they are so stunning. And again, like if you guys don't have this deck, I highly recommend you go out and get this deck because it's stunning. The artwork is beautiful. Um, as we go here, and all the pictures seem to come alive, especially the ones with the gold and the glitter, I must say.
But do you know what? Each card has stardust. Each one.
Oh, does it?
Sometimes it's more subtle, sometimes it's more evident because we are stardust. We come from
Yes.
galaxies, we come from the stardust, and we return to the galaxy. So some are more subtle, some are more evident, but each one has stardust.
Okay, so now that's something I'm gonna look forward to within each of the cards because I do want to show people these beautiful, stunning cards because that's just like that's so magical. Which one is this? The Six of Cups. Like it's so like you could get lost in the images of the artwork that are within your cards. They're so beautiful.
I wanted that to represent two different ways of being. One is how we become as adults, closed and rigid and a little bit, this mask we put on for the world. And then connecting to that time when we were like young and carefree and just
Yeah.
whirling with just wild abandon.
Yeah.
It talks about the healing that needs to take place to connect to that childlike way of being,
Yes. And oh, which one is this one? The Seven of Cups, all about
overwhelmed by all the options out there and thinking that all that glitters is gold when it often isn't.
yes, yes. I want to read this as we're going through the cards because this is a review that you placed on your website, and I do want to share it with our listeners because it touched my heart. So it's by Amit Safi. Did I say that right? Professor of Asia and Middle East Studies at Duke University, author of Radical Love, Teachings from the Islamic Mystical Tradition, and director, Illuminated Course and Tours. And this is what he writes about your deck. As we're going through the deck, I just feel like I really want to share what he had to say. And he writes, in the hands of masterful teacher like Ayeda Husain, tarot cards are no mere divination, which is so true. She takes us on a journey through the authentic teachings of Sufi masters until the Sufi tarot cards become a mirror for reflecting on our own tendencies, qualities, inclinations, both where our soul already shines and where we stand to gain balance and lean into complementary qualities. If you love tarot cards, you owe it to yourself to drink the Sufi tarot with heart and soul. I'm already in love. If you love Sufi wisdom, explore the wisdom of our tradition through the aesthetically sublime wisdom of the Sufi tarot. I had to share that in the middle of this because I feel like,
You.
yeah, exclamation mark, for everybody, quotation marks. As you're taking us on this beautiful journey, I feel like you're opening all of our hearts to reflect on us and other people, but I don't know. I'm in love with this tarot deck. That's all I gotta say. And I'm gonna show the artwork. So, with each of the cards, was it like visions that you were inspired, or is there like parts of your life within the cards that that inspired the artwork too?
Yeah, so the one you just put down is a young girl playing the sitar. That is something
What?
I did when I was younger. I did play the sitar, but
Oh,
this again was not done with a conscious mind. This was very much just th images which came to me,
yes.
and I'm sure some of them were based in what was already familiar to me, but it was not consciously done. None of these images were made with a conscious mind. And perhaps that's why they have been touching people the way that they have, because it's
Yes.
not really me, it's something else which we all have in common, the
Spirit.
connection to the universal flow.
Yes. Yes. That heart soul energy. It's like these cards, because I do want to show off for cards in case people are curious. What does the deck look like? Again, go get your own deck. You need to have this for tarot lovers. And and then there's this myth out there because I will hear people say I can't buy a tarot deck, it needs to be gifted to me. I don't believe in that. I think you should go out and buy your own tarot deck. I don't know
I
if you've
bought
heard of
myself
that.
I bought myself many decks.
Yes, yes, yes. But the artwork is just like that comes to life. Does that not come to life? It is so beautiful. And I think we're almost done. But even, oh, the coins. Look at that. So those coins, how did that image was downloaded for you? Or is
Yes,
there a coin
this
that looks like
I
that?
saw I just saw this ancient coin with Arabic writing, and
Oh,
where it had to be that. So what's really interesting is that in all the cards, when you see Arabic writing, nothing is actually being written. It's just
oh,
random letters thrown in there. So I
okay.
wanted to make sure that there's a divine name that gets written and gets thrown on the ground. There's nothing there for anyone to be offended by. So we just have random letters placed together to create the feeling of where the cards originated from.
Yes, because all these cards, they're just so beautiful. That's all
This
I
one,
gotta
I'm not
say.
sure you can tell, but each one of these pots and pans hanging in the marketplace are embossed with the inside of a coin, the eight of coins.
For this one?
Yes.
Oh,
The coppersmith. The coppersmith. There's a story
okay.
of Rumi. I have to tell you this really quickly. When he
Yes.
started whirling, he was walking down a crowded marketplace in Konya in Turkey, and he heard a coppersmith hammering away. And he closed his eyes. He put one hand up, one hand down, his head to the right, and he just started whirling. And I always thought, gosh, that coppersmith was probably bored and just doing whatever is his mundane routine, but someone so lost in his craft that he inspired somebody to create a whole new form of worship, which is based in dance. And after 800 years, it's going stronger than ever. The whirling
Yes.
is something that I do as well. So I wanted each of the copper pots and pans to be a coin. So we have the
Yes.
inside of the same coin embossed in each of these. The level of detail, you have no idea how long each card took us.
I could imagine. because it's just, I'm just, yeah, I'm mesmerized by the artwork and how the cards, how they all come to life and all the images. And I love the colors, the bright colors that you use within the cards. And then for somebody going on this um journey, the tarot journey, so if they're looking to go into cards, like learn about the tarot, what would you recommend for people beginning on this journey so they don't get completely overwhelmed?
I would say use this book. It's a very, very good friend.
It
I
is.
explain everything from A to Z. There are simple spreads that I talk about. There's a way of just picking one card and having a conversation with the deck. There's the Sufi Tarot five-pointed star spread. There are many, many ways, but nobody comes knowing what to do. And much of this,
Yes.
again, came to me um, as guidance. So I put in everything in this book. I squeezed in as much as I could. It is for beginners. It's for people who've been doing it their whole lives. It really
Yes.
has something for everyone in there. It is a user-friendly. That's what I wanted to come up with, a user-friendly tool for self-exploration.
And you have, like within the cards, you have contemplations and you have an affirmation for each card. So I find just reading it um helps me, like for myself, and I hope it helps other people to self-reflect. So
That's the whole
was
point. That's the whole point. You know, self-knowledge is what spirituality is all about. Sufism
yes,
is about clearing the mirror, polishing the mirror of our heart until we can see the reflection of God. But what does
yeah,
that really mean? How do you polish the mirror of your heart? You connect with who you are, why you are the way you are, why you think the way you think, why you feel the way you feel, you react the way you react, why maybe you're attracting certain recurring patterns in your life. What is making all of this happen? And when you connect with that knowledge, then you have truly, truly become closer to God through the
yeah,
divine, whatever you want to call the universal intelligence, by excavating and cleansing your heart. That's what we're really trying to do. That's what the Sufi path is all about. The purification of the heart by healing it through the Sufi practices so it can really reflect the divine. We believe that the heart is the only organ, physical organ in our bodies that unites the heavens and the earth. So,
yes.
and it's incredible. In every tradition, the heart is divine.
It is. I I just want to say thank you so much for allowing me to interview you because I know you're super busy, but before we come to a close, what are your offerings for people if they want to reach out to you?
So I am very excited about something new I've created. It's called Sufi Tarot Life Coaching Session, and they can be booked through my website. And what I do is that I use the tarot to diagnose what the challenge is. So this is lack of gratitude. There's
Mm.
something happening in your life and you're not grateful, and what can gratitude teach you? And then we use Sufi practices. So again, you're not going to be given a diagnosis and sent home. We will find out what the challenge is, what the root of the issue is through the cards. And then we work on healing using Sufi practices. And each session is tailor-made to each individual. So they can be booked through my website. They get
Okay.
booked up pretty fast, but I do love when people come back and they're like, you have no idea what happened, and "Oh, I feel transformed." And there have been some incredibly magically um, healing stories which melt your heart, which
Yeah.
is what this project was always all about, to help people using Sufi wisdom, ancient Sufi wisdom, helping people transform their lives. And with these sessions, I see it happening in front of me physically, and there can be no greater joy.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much. You know what? Just being around you, I feel like I've transformed in this time because I could just feel my heart open up so much. And I'm thinking, I could just listen to you for hours and hours and hours. There's so much wisdom within you. And today I'm so grateful we got a tiny, tiny little peek at that. And for those that are listening, check out her website. If this feels like aligned with you, please go book sessions with her. I will be putting up all of her contact information, her social media links, and this will also be up on YouTube and on Apple and Spotify and other podcasting platforms. So it's easier for people to find you. So thank you so much for your time. And I
Oh,
am so
my God.
grateful.
Oh, and I'm so, so grateful that you invited me to be here with you today. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, goodbye, everybody.
Bye.